Today's country and your all-time favorites, 95 won the Bull, 8:24 on the morning roundup this morning with our community conversation brought to you by Floyd County Medical Center online at fcmc.us.com. Joining me in the bullpen here from Chickasaw County Sheriff's Office, Ryan Shawver joining us. Ryan, thanks for joining me once again.
Good morning, Rob. Glad to be back here. You're sounding a little better.
Yeah, last week we discussed off air is just torture. And, some people like to believe, some people don't. I was like, it boils down to just plain old allergies that are just doubling down. I'm one of those special cases.
You are, that's for sure.
I got to take all kinds of meds and nasal spray just to kind of keep things a bit, and plenty of fluids too.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to Dr. McGrath for helping me check out on that, and her nurse assistant, Nicole Wurzel, helped me out on that too. She
Good.
said, just keep doing that. You're going to be fine. I was
All
like,
right.
Are you sure? Yes, you're fine. So let's kind of dive into some things here. I know one of the more recent things, I know Mark Pitts from the news desk had a letter that was passed along here from your office here. Let's kind of dive into what the letter's all about.
Yeah, you bet. So many residents, or all residents of Chickasaw County, probably received a letter that was from the Iowa State Sheriffs and Deputies Association. They're an organization here in Iowa that's been an organization for many, many, many years, way before my time in law enforcement. The letter looks like it comes from my office, and it's got our letterhead on it. It's my signature on it. And it's something that the ISSDA, Iowa State Sheriffs and Deputies Association, puts out every year looking for funding for the organization. We, as a county sheriff's office, are members of that organization, and it provides ongoing training for our staff, not just deputies, but our dispatch jail staff, our civil staff. It's very informative. We need to have updates every year. We have to have continuing education hours, and they help provide those critical things for us. And so what they also do is they put together a youth camp for youth. It's called the Y Camp, that's sponsored by ISSDA. It's typically for those children that might not be able to afford to go to summer camp. So the ISSDA sponsors it, and it's a great thing that they do. So what this letter is, it's asking to help, fund their organization to, provide the ongoing training for our office and our staff, which we are members of it. We do pay membership dues each year for our staff. But I wanted to just make sure the public understands that I did not write this letter. This letter is a blanket letter. If you go to the neighboring counties, it's going to look the exact same. But, Fayette County is going to have Sheriff Fisher's name on it. Howard County's Sheriff Beckman, Wenatchee County Sheriff Marks, and so on. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands that I did not write this. I'm not one to go solicit funds via a mass mailing. And I think what sparked this interest in this year, this has gone out. Sheriff Heeman's name was on the previous one. Sheriff Miller, Sheriff Larson, Sheriff Burnett's, all of them before me. And I think people are more in tune to what they're getting in the mail because of all the scams that are coming out there, right, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands this is legit. They are a great organization. By no means am I saying, hey, go donate to them. It's great. No, if you feel you want to, that's great. I know that this time of year, especially with tax season and all the news lately about the tax levies of not just the county, but the cities and the schools, the rates are going up too. People are very conscious of where their dollars are going. And I want to make sure that they understand that if I, from our office, need any type of assistance for anything that we're doing that's not funded by tax dollars, I'll be in a public setting, such as here on the radio, do something on in the paper or on social media. Currently, the only thing that we have going that's been ongoing for many years is our canine program. That we, typically try to go out and solicit funds for every now and then to keep our balance healthy. So that's all I want to talk about here on this letter, but it is legit. You may see it. It looks like it came from our office, but it did not, but it is a legit mailing.
Yes. So definitely giving you some closure. And you said it right here on 95 won the Bull. Just kind of keep in mind if you happen to see that in your mail here in the coming weeks ahead here.
Yes.
Good to know. Ryan Shawver joining us here on the morning roundup. And there's more information we can learn about the programs there, including those youth camps as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah. ISSDA's got their ISSDA.org website. They have a Facebook page. Again, it's a great organization. I can't, express enough how good it is for us and for us to be a part of it. So it's not a scam, and it does provide training for us, and we see those dollars indirectly that are donated.
Very good. Moving along to something that's been passed along to me from one of our Koloff media associates here was a question for you from one of our local residents here about the explanation about Ryan, the law or laws regarding UTVs in city and on county state roads. some of the requirements, speed limits, and also can we, for example, legally drive down the blacktop to go to, small towns like Jericho, Caldwell, and maybe run an errand or maybe grab something to eat or something.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah. These are questions we get a lot because this is a newer state code. And I say newer within the last year and a half that the state finally put in something together for UTVs and ATVs. Prior to that, the county had their own county ordinance that mirrored this state code, very, very, very similar. However, now there's a state code that supersedes the county ordinances. Counties can make them more stringent. Ours has chosen not to, which is a good thing. So one of the questions I think asked by the listener was requirement of flags. Per state code, UTVs and ATVs do not need to have flags. And I want to make sure that everybody understands these are UTVs and ATVs, not golf cars. UTVs and ATVs do not need to have flags. They do have to have signals because they fall under the 321 code, which is the Motor Vehicle Code Enforcement of Iowa. So it's just like a vehicle on the road. So it's got to have headlights, taillights, turn signals, all those things. Does not need an SMV or slow moving vehicle sign. That was something that when for a lot of counties were starting to put them out, they required those just for more visibility. And I think one of the questions here, licensing. So they do have to be registered with your county recorder. And one thing that's different from the 321 code is these UTVs and ATVs, you have to be 18 years of age to operate them. You can't be 16. You got to be 18 years of age to operate them on the highways. So that's just the basics. You have to have those things covered. Some other things that were asked, speed limits. So the state has limited the speed limits to these vehicles at 35 miles an hour. We all know these vehicles can travel much faster than that. However, they're not designed for that. I think that's why the state, I can't speak for them, but how I'm interpreting the state code is these vehicles aren't designed to travel at those highway speeds. The tires on them are very different ply, different speed rating tires.
You can roll over easier on
very,
these.
very much so. These are designed for off-road vehicles. I've spoken with a lot of sales reps in our area that do sell these things, and that's what they'll tell you is these are designed for off-road use. The states have allowed them to be operated on highway use. They do have to have insurance. I need to mention that they do have to be insured as well. And you've got to have a proof of insurance, just like a vehicle. So I know there's a lot of controversy on, well, if they can travel at those speeds, shouldn't they keep with the flow of traffic? I tend to agree with it a little bit, but I don't write the state code. I just have to enforce it. So, but again, it's a safety thing. I have heard people that do change the ply of tires and radials to a street legal one or a street rated one. Again, they're still 35 miles an hour. So be cautious of that. And it is set by the legislature. We don't have any control over it. And one question you asked about operating on county blacktops. It's all about how you interpret the state code, and everybody's going to interpret it differently. It kind of contradicts itself. It says you can't operate on county paved roads undivided. So it means undivided. It's not like you cannot operate it on 63, the 4-lane, or 218, the 4-lane, unless you can operate on state highways that are undivided, unless you're going to the next secondary road, which means you can operate on Highway 24 if you come off of, I'm just going to use Newell and go to Odessa. That's just outside of New Hampton. So to the next secondary level B or secondary road. And then it goes and talks about going down the road that you can cross those, you can cross the paved highways. Then there's something in there. If your county authorizes those to be operated on paved highways, they can. To my knowledge, Chickasaw County has not restricted the use of UTVs and ATVs on any of their secondary paved roads. So yes, and you can operate them. Some counties are different. It's all how things are interpreted, but I'm reading here in state code is chapter. If you want to go read the state code and be educated on it, I encourage people to do that. It's 321I is the state code. 321I talks about all-terrain vehicles. So I hope that helps people answer the questions. It's good to ask these questions to be educated. I mean, I stress that enough. People reach out to our office, ask these questions. So you're educated. And if we don't know, we're going to find out. There's a lot of things we've got to know in law enforcement. We don't know. And me personally don't know every state code like the back of my hand, but I know where to go and find out the answer.
We're speaking with Chickasaw County Sheriff Ryan Shawver here on the Morning Roundup, 95.1 The Bull. And I encourage as well, if you have any questions you want to share with me and Ryan when we chat every couple of weeks, you can reach out 951thebull.com. Send us the suggestions. We've got a nice fill out form there where you can contact and submit those forms, and we'll make sure to get those questions
Yes.
answered there. Moving along, any other things you wanted to talk about here this morning?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm surprised I was invited back after the last time I talked about the S word, and my gosh, it did happen. So I'm like, oh boy. But no, I encourage anybody. I took a few questions over the weekend on email and Facebook Messenger, and I'll answer those things. I really encourage everybody to be educated. Ask these questions. Don't just go with what you hear and what you think is correct. And with anything, whether I can answer or not, or I could put you in contact with somebody that can.
Right, absolutely. And of course, I think all will be forgiven now that the weather's warming up, and now we've got more educated on what to do, especially with ATVs and UTVs, because now the weather's warming up. We're going to see more of those vehicles coming through here. We'll be seeing golf carts up and down around town here.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. And each city's may have different ordinances. The cities can regulate if they can operate within their cities or not. So these are just county and state ordinances. If you operate within the cities that you live in, check with their city halls and make sure that theirs are not any different than the state. So these are just county and state ordinances.
Very good. Further information, anything we discussed there, or maybe, again, try and educate yourself, ask more questions. How can we get a hold of you there, Ryan?
Yeah, you call our office at any time at 641-394-3121. That number always rings. It'll always be picked up. If I'm not around, they'll leave me a message. My email is r.shawver@Chickasaw County, all spelled out, .iowa.gov. We've got our Facebook page, and ChickasawCounty.iowa.gov is another way to get a hold of us for the county website. And there's our email addresses and contact forms on there as well.
All right. Well, Ryan, thanks again for joining us here this morning here on the Morning Roundup. And you know what? We're not going to be shunning any more precipitation. Looks like we're going to be getting quite a bit of rain here this morning, if not soon. Well, we'll rejoin again here in a couple of weeks.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Ryan Shawver, Chickasaw County Sheriff here on the Morning Roundup, 95.1 The Bull. Our community conversation brought to you by Floyd County Medical Center.